Hi guys, good evening Nigerian time. Let me know if you can hear me. Please drop a comment and let me know if you can hear me. Fantastic. Just gonna let some more people in. Welcome. Welcome guys. Good to see y'all. Okay guys, so let's get started. Welcome to the first Qilo webinar. Webinar is titled Bioindividuality, Creating Your Path to Sustainable Weight Loss. So if you're joining us here for the first time, I would like to invite you to enjoy this. And I'd also like to invite you to also be a member of the Qilo community. We usually call members of the Qilo community a Qiloer. And to join our community is completely free of charge. You just have to go to www.qilo.co. We're going to put the link somewhere on this video. Feel free to join us. It's completely free of charge. And you get to hear more about the resources that we offer to members of our community. So before we get started, I would like to know where everybody who's listening is joining us from. Just drop in the comments what city, what country you're in. Let us know where you're hollering at us from. Would like to know what part of the world or what part of Nigeria are you joining us from? The Bronx, New York. Welcome, Melissa. Karen, you're also here. Where are you joining us from? Musa, where are you joining us from? Let us know in the comments. Would like to know where you're joining us from. Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so we're just gonna get started. Quick house rules, just before we get into it. This session is going to be lasting for exactly 30 minutes, no more, no less. And we're going to try and give a few minutes at the end so that people can ask questions and we can also answer. So I implore you to give me your undivided attention. If you do not live alone, I would ask for you to find a corner in your house where you can get silence and less distractions, get your headphones, get your notepads, get anything that you need to make sure that you can give us your undivided attention for the next 30 minutes. It's just 30 minutes. Nothing's going to happen in 30 minutes, guys. So give us 30 minutes of your time. And I'm just going to give everybody here just 1 minute to just get themselves together. So if you need to get your headphones, if you need to get a notepad, pen, if you need to get water, tea, whatever you need to make yourself feel comfortable for the next 30 minutes. If there's anybody around you who's distracting you with television, who's making noise, now is the time for you to go and get that sorted out, okay? So we're going to give everybody exactly 2 minutes, and when we get back, we're going straight into the webinar. See you in a bit. Okay, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the webinar. We're going straight into it. So what is Qilo? For those of you who are curious, who are wondering what Qilo is, what are they about, I'm going to be telling you about that in a moment. Qilo is a startup that helps Africans lose weight. Our approach is holistic and it utilizes the critical aspects of successful long-term weight loss. So for example, nutritional guidance, social support, medication in some cases, coaching, and personalizing the experience for each user. Okay, and so why do we do what we do? Just in case you're wondering, I'm going to give you from my personal experience. In 2015, when I lost 40 kilograms, my biggest challenge was not finding meal plans or exercise plans. They're all over the internet. My biggest challenge was finding meal plans that were relatable to me and they were accessible to me. Every content that I was finding, because I was finding so many, were from a different continent, mostly from the US or the UK. So now, in today's time, in the last 5 years, the market has really evolved, and now you can find so many local focused meal plans. But most of the apps that we have and the solutions that we have out there are not personalized. Neither are they created for the African people. And that is why Qilo exists, to fill this gap. And who do we do it for? We do it for you and every other African. All right. So, like I said in the beginning, if you would like to join our community, you can do so by visiting www.qilo.co, and it is completely free of charge. So now enough of all the hush hush and talk. Let's get straight into the webinar, yeah? If you're ready, put an emoji in the comments for me so that I can see that you're with me. If you're ready for the webinar to get started, put it in the comments. I would like to see if you guys are ready for me. Fantastic. I'm glad to see that you guys are ready. So let's get started. What is bioindividuality? Let me just show my pretty face here so you guys can see me. I heard the term bioindividuality for the first time in health coaching school in 2015 with the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And it was basically, in simple lay terms, is that every person is different. Everybody has a different biology and everybody is their own individual. And over time, most of weight loss is very generalized. So you have a meal plan that anybody can download, and it's not really specific to any person. And we don't know on what terms or conditions they created that meal plan. Is it for people who are 5 feet tall or for people who are 7 feet tall? Is it for women or is it for men? All of these things were not put into consideration when they made the meal plan. They made it for a specific type of person. And then we have so many people using that same meal plan. It's bound to fail, right? It's very likely that some people are going to get excellent results and some people are going to get 0 results. Or sometimes they're going to even add weight in the process, right? So bioindividuality simply means that we're all unique, we're all different, and we should all be treated as such, right? In the title, we put bioindividuality, creating your sustainable path to weight loss. And I put the term "your" here on the screen so that we are in touch with this word itself. It's very personal. It's your pathway, your plan, right? There's no our plan because everybody's path is different, yeah? So it's important that we go to the root of all of this, because over time, most of us always see, oh, my friend did this fantastic weight loss program and she lost 5 kilograms. I'm going to do it. And then you do it and it doesn't work. And then you know this person who drank this special tea for 1 month and the person didn't lose weight and then you lost weight, right? So it's very important for you to realize that when it comes to weight loss and even living healthy, it's important for you to follow your own path, right? Imagine if I give you a meal plan and I tell you you have a glass of milk every morning before you start your day, but you're lactose intolerant. How on earth are you meant to be able to lose weight or even be healthy on a plan that is not made specifically for you? Yeah. So these are some of the things that you want to bear in mind when you're creating your pathway to sustainable weight loss, because there's weight loss and there's sustainable weight loss. Not all weight loss is sustainable. So if you're thinking about sustainability, you have to think, what have I done in the past that has worked? What have I done in the past that hasn't worked? The time that it worked, was it made for me or was it made for somebody else? There's so many things that you need to put into consideration, yeah? So if anybody here has tried to do a weight loss program that he has seen online without making it personalized, please raise your hand in the comments. Let me see you. Wave at me and say hi. If you're one of them, I did it at some point. I did it for many years actually. For many years, I'll try something that somebody did and it didn't work. And then I'm like, maybe it's not my destiny. Maybe it's not in the cards for me to lose weight. But if you check, I actually wasn't looking for something personal. I was actually looking at somebody else's dream, somebody else's goal, somebody else's plan. So it's important for us to bear this in mind as we're creating our sustainable pathway to weight loss. So let's move on. Let me admit more people onto this call. So there are two types of food. I know when we talk about types of food, people think carbohydrates, protein, fats, macronutrients, micronutrients, but essentially there are two types of food, primary food and secondary food. If you're hearing this for the first time, let me know, but hopefully it's not going to be the last time you hear about it. Primary food essentially is food that we eat that doesn't come on a plate. And then secondary food is food that we eat every day to keep the body alive, right? So essentially primary food is anything that feeds your body, your soul, your spirit, your mind, that doesn't go into your mouth. And then secondary food is everything that you eat to stay alive, right? So an example of primary food would be relationships, romantic relationships, platonic relationships, co-working relationships, relationship with your neighbors, all of these things count as primary foods. And then we have things like music, the kind of music that you hear, that you listen to is also a type of primary food. Meditation, physical exercise, anything that feeds you, that you don't eat, right? Hopefully you're not a cannibal and you don't eat people, but anything that you don't eat that feeds your body and feeds your soul is primary food. And then secondary food is everything that we know about food, where we talk about carbohydrates, protein, blah, 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 blah. Now, most of us focus on what we eat. You never see a meal plan that says, in the morning, say hello to your neighbors. In the evening, hug your coworker. At night, when your mother is screaming, don't scream back at her. Most times, you just tell you, eat the salad, or eat this noodle, or eat this thing. And so we focus so much on secondary foods and we completely ignore primary foods. And studies have shown that primary foods actually play a larger role in determining how we eat. And most people will be like, how can you say that love is more important than food? Let me give you a typical example. How many people here have been in love and then they were talking midnight for like 5 hours, they forget to sleep, they forget to eat, and then the next day they go to work like this, step like 10 hours, like they come in charge, like, yeah, let's go. And if the whole weekend they're not sleeping, they don't even remember to eat, and then they're all filled up. If you tell them when last did you eat it, like they can't even remember. So that's how powerful primary foods are. And it's not always just positive, even in the negative. Negative emotions also play a role in how we eat. So for example, how many of us have been heartbroken and then that's when you remember that favorite chocolate place, that favorite gelato spot. So you're like, this is my opportunity. And then you buy a whole tub and you eat the whole thing, right? You're not hungry. You are not even having any craving, but you're just so sad and so upset, or you're looking for something to comfort you, right? So primary foods do play a role. And so the question now is, why do we always neglect that part of us? Why do we always neglect? Why don't we think it's as important what we feed our bodies to how we eat? Sometimes you can actually listen to certain kind of music and you'll be depressed. I don't know if anybody has felt that, but you just be like, I was in a good mood this morning, but that playlist put me in some kind of funk, right? And then you start like, oh, maybe I should just grab a donut and maybe I should just do this. And then next thing you know, you're eating your feelings. So there's one thing that one of my mentors once said to me. He says, we always ask the right question. We're always asking, oh, why are you eating? Why are you eating? When the right question is, what's eating you up? Because something is definitely eating you up. That's why you keep going to eat food. So we need to change the questions, right? So primary foods are important. Yeah. So I said love, relationship, music, the internet, social media is a type of primary food. Yeah. If you're going to social media and then all of your feed is just things that put you in a state of comparison, that put you in a state of lack, that put you in a state of low self-esteem, you're actually feeding yourself bad food, and it's something that should not be ignored. It's not something that you're going to store away in some part of your brain, like, okay, I'm out of social media now, so I'm forgetting about everything that I interacted with. That's not how it works. Yeah. So secondary food, they say that the reason why they call it primary is because it's more important than secondary. And people always be like, I don't know. You can't tell me that I can survive on primary food and whatnot. Well, that's debatable. That's not what we're talking about today. Now, for secondary food can also impact primary food. There's certain foods that you eat that actually impacts your mood, right? Sometimes you eat too much sugar, you're excited for like 1 hour, and then in the next 30 minutes after you've eaten, you're already slowly feeling sluggish and low and anything. It has actually nothing to do with your mood prior. You just ate something that just didn't sit well with you. Yeah. So it's important for us to understand that primary food impacts secondary foods, but secondary foods also impact primary foods. The foods that you're eating, do they constantly put you in a bad mood? Is it sometimes it's caffeine for some people, sometimes it's sugar for some people. For some people it's carbs. If they eat a certain amount of carbs, they start to feel sluggish and in a low mood. So it's important for you to understand that even though primary foods can affect secondary foods can also affect primary foods. So we just did a research and we found out that by 2030, diabetes is actually going to be the #1 cause of death in Nigeria. I think this is one of the statistics that is quite scary to hear, because usually when we hear about statistics, we hear like 2055, 2076, but 2030 is like the day after tomorrow. It's pretty close. And also diabetes is something that is mostly preventable. If it's not hereditary, it's mostly preventable. So it's kind of sad to realize that most people are going to be dying of diseases that are preventable, diseases that are within their reach. And that is why it's so important for us to do webinars like this, to do challenges, and to get the word out there so that people can start educating themselves and getting their power back. Yeah. So if you're a part of the Qilo challenge currently, would you let me know by putting in the comments that yes, I'm a Qilo, I'm part of the challenge, just so we know how we're doing and who's attending. Awesome. Kekanma is a Qilo. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name properly. Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Awesome. So we're going to be sharing 5 tips because we just have 10 minutes left. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll create time to answer them before we end this. But I'm going to be sharing 5 tips that you can use to create a sustainable weight loss plan for yourself. Yeah. The first one is acceptance. You can't fix something that you don't believe exists. So it's kind of like saying, oh, I need to, if you want to stop drinking alcohol, for example, but you don't even accept that you're an alcoholic, it gets complicated. So it's important for you to accept whatever situation that you're in. Oh, I have pre-diabetes. Oh, I have high blood pressure. Oh, I'm a little bit overweight. Oh, I'm very much overweight. Once you've accepted that, you can now start creating a plan to fix it. If you don't accept that there's a problem, how exactly are you going to fix it? Yes. And when we say problem here, we're talking about when it begins to impact the quality of your life, right? When you're spending too much time in the hospital, when it's something that's preventable, like we talked about the statistics of by 2030, the #1 killer of Nigerians will be diabetes. If it was something like COVID, where we feel like, okay, we don't even know where it came from and the people didn't really have much control, it's different. But when it's something that is as preventable, we really have the power and the choice to make every single day. Do we want to be a part of the statistics, or do we not want to be a part of the statistics? Yeah. So the first thing you want to do is acceptance. What area of my health do I need to improve? Do I need to stop drinking so much sugar? Should I stop taking meals after 7 p.m.? There are little things that you can do today, but the first thing you need to do is accept. The second thing is to keep a food journal. A lot of us actually have no idea how much that we eat. And I think that this was my first tool that I used in 2015 to actually become aware of my eating habits. I was of the belief that I did not eat that much. I sincerely believe I didn't eat that much and I didn't know why I was adding weight. So when I started keeping a journal, And then after a while, I started taking pictures of my food. At the end of the week, I would look at all the pictures and I'd be like, how on earth did I eat? Like, where did all these meals go to? Right. So when you're keeping a journal, it actually stops you on a track. Like, actually, I'm not hungry. I actually ate like an hour ago. This is just me, just out of habit. Yeah. So a food journal definitely helps. And keeping a food journal is completely free of charge. Even if you don't have a notebook or a pen, you can always save it in your notepad. Yes. So the third thing is to know yourself. One thing that a food journal does is that it helps you become more self-aware. By the time you keep a food journal for like a week, you're like, I eat a lot. That's a part of self-awareness. Or I don't eat enough. Or I eat too much of this and I don't eat enough of that. Or you know what? I actually don't eat too many meals, but my meal portions are quite big. Right. So what this journal does, it makes you become more self-aware. And also it helps you take note of how you feel. So with a food journal, apart from writing what you're eating, it's important for you to write how you feel after you eat those meals. So you can say, oh, I drank tea in the morning, I felt energized until 3 p.m. At 3 p.m., I ate spaghetti, and then I started feeling sluggish around 4. So then you start identifying the meals that give you the most energy, and then the meals that take the most energy away from you. Yes. So it helps you to know yourself better. So it's also important for you to also make it a point of duty to know yourself. Oh, you know what? Every time I speak to this friend of mine, I'm always in a sour mood and it makes me want to eat. That's also part of self-awareness, because then you're realizing that this person affects my primary foods and she affects it in a negative way. And it can also be for the positive. Every time I go to this exhibition, I feel excited. I should spend more time going to that exhibition. Yeah. So the fourth thing is you need to change your mindset. It's very key. Sorry, guys, I see that there's a mix up somewhere in the alignment, but yes, change your mindset. Wherever you are right now that you don't feel happy with, your present mindset brought you there. You just didn't just arrive there from nowhere. You arrived there because of the current mindset that you have. So if you want to change your destination, you need to change your current mindset to match where you want to go. Your old mindset is not going to take you to a new place. Only a new mindset is going to take you to a new place. Yes. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you're getting personalized plans. Like we talked about in the beginning and all through the webinar, it's important for you to have a plan that is personalized to you, not having generalized plan that, oh, one auntie gave me, one uncle talked about, and one sister did. You want it to be personalized, yeah? And you can find all of that and more at Qilo. And so I implore you again to join the Qilo community by going to www.qilo.com. We have officially come to the end of the webinar. Like we promised, it's going to be exactly 30 minutes. We want people to be able to get ready for the work day tomorrow. But also, I also love to take any questions that you have for me concerning weight or concerning weight loss or concerning the webinar that we just had. So I'll be waiting for your questions, and I would like to say thank you for everybody who joined us today, for making out the time in the middle of a weekday on a Thursday to be here today. I'm excited to have you all. So I'll be here taking your questions. Please leave them in the comments and I'll respond as soon as I see them. Okay, so I'm seeing that there's some questions here already. Let me just scroll up. Somebody said he's struggling Qilo. What matters is that you show up on the good days and on the bad days. Thank you for joining. Hi, Moko, it's good to see you. So Musa says the craving issue is kind of serious than I thought it is. Yes, we're actually currently talking about cravings in the Qilo community. So all you have to do is listen to the voices that we've been sending every day. And there are more voices to come between now and the end of the webinar. And even after the webinar, we're still going to be talking about IF, intermittent fasting, and how to handle your cravings. But I think the voice of yesterday talked about how you can't think of losing weight if you have poor sleep. So it's important for you to sleep properly, at least 7 hours, 7 to 9 hours every day. So for discipline, I think it's an individual thing. Some people are able to like tell themselves that they're going to do something and they do it. And some people need a little more help. They need accountability. And sometimes you just need to design to make it easy for you to follow through your goals. So at some point you might feel every time I wake up, I don't feel motivated to exercise. What you can do is go to bed in your gym clothes. Or you can arrange your gym clothes by your bed, put your shoes, make sure everything, your water bottle, your mat, have everything set up a night before. So that when you wake up, you don't have to think too much, oh, what am I going to wear? Where's my sports bra? Where's my socks? Where's my exercise mat? Is it clean? All of those things would have already been organized before you need them. It makes it so much easier to be disciplined, because when you make it hard to do something that's already hard, it just becomes harder. Yeah. So it's important for you to make sure that you have everything set up, your meal plans, make sure you meal prep, and also make sure that you have somebody that can check in. You can call one of your friends. Can you call me every day by 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. and make sure that I work out? Yeah. So it's not enough for you to say, oh, I'm so indisciplined. What are you doing to curb that? Is the question. Some of my favorite primary foods, definitely relationships of any kind, romantic relationships, family relationships, relationships at work, relationship with my friends are very key for me. Thank you for asking, Melissa. Kekanma says, because you know all the right foods. Yes. So she's talking about the discipline. You said, how do you handle the discipline part? I actually thought you were talking about exercise. Okay, we're talking about food. So yes, I think that everybody knows the right food to eat and what they should avoid, but that doesn't stop people from eating anyway. So that's actually a good question. So like I said during the webinar, sometimes the question is not why are you eating or what's eating you up. You know, a lot of people eat because that's a way that they curb their anxiety. They don't know how to deal with anxiety. So when they're anxious, they eat, right? For some people, they are stressed at work. So people, they're not sleeping enough. So when you don't sleep enough, you actually have cravings. Biologically, you start have to have cravings. So there are a number of things that can cause you to eat when you shouldn't be eating. Yeah. So it's important for you to, like I said, keep a food journal and also keep a mood journal. So when you keep a food journal, like I'm eating spaghetti now, why am I eating it? Why am I feeling the craving to eat it? Like, oh, I got in an argument with my husband, or I got into an argument with my mom, and that's why I feel the way that I feel. Yeah. And so in that way, you can also start finding ways to resolve those problems. Yeah. Can this kind of webinar come up more frequently? Thank you for the feedback. We'll definitely work on making them available more frequently. We appreciate that you like it enough to want more. So I think I've answered all of your questions. And the absence of any more, I would like to say thank you guys very much for being here. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Qilo community, and see you in the Telegram channel.